Hello, you're watching Uganda Sport. My name is Beatrice. Get on our YouTube, that is Uganda Sport 3, and we have a number of episodes loaded right there. Go give us a thumb up, give us a comment, and above it all, subscribe. Today we have something very special for you, and we want to speak into matters that do concern all of us, especially for an ordinary Ugandan like me. Do all these manifestos speak into the issues that are affecting a common man down? To make us understand this, we have a gentleman here in studio, Cabinet Secretary for Special Duties, JEEMA, Nahabwe.
Yes, please.
Innocent. Good to have you.
Thank you. I'm also happy to be part of this good show.
So many people don't understand what JEEMA is, and so many Ugandans do not know. What is JEEMA?
JEEMA, the official name of the party is Justice Forum. JEEMA is an acronym which represents the 5 values that takes us as a party. J standing for justice, the first E standing for education for all, then the second E standing for economic revitalization, the M standing for morality, and the A standing for African unity. So JEEMA has a vision of having a just society that has an educated people who are economically empowered and morally upright with a dream of achieving African unity. That is the JEEMA you hear about. Registered officially in 2005 when the multi-party dispensation was reintroduced into our constitution, but the party started in 1995 during the presidential campaigns, and our first presidential candidate was Haji Mayanja, who also stood in 2001, and since then we've not been fronting presidential candidates then, but we've been fronting candidates at all levels of leadership other than presidents. We've had 2 MPs so far in parliament. Had the Honorable Change from 2011 to 2021 until he died of recent. And then right now we have the Honorable Simon Basa, who is also our party president. Actually, he's the second president of the Justice Forum.
Yeah.
The first one was Haji Mayanja. This is the second one, and he's serving his last term. So we shall soon have elections to have the third president. JEEMA is a party that believes in social justice. It's our ideology rotates around ideological pluralism. Pluralism is a philosophy that explains that we as a party we welcome all the ideas, and the idea that gets the biggest support takes the day. We in governance we believe in federalism. We are federalists, and we believe in constitutionalism.
There is a common word, justice for all.
Justice for all is our slogan.
Does it prevail?
It does.
How?
Within the party. Now in JEEMA,
Only within the party.
Now that's why we are aspiring that it can prevail around the whole world.
So within the party there is justice for all.
Unlike other parties, in JEEMA, the moment you become a member, you have equal rights like the president. You have equal rights like the person who joined in 1996. So that's what justice means. I joined the Justice Forum in 2020. I was still a young student at the university. I was completing my year 1. But then I'm a cabinet minister I became a cabinet minister just after 3 years joining the party. And there are people who have been in the party for 20 years and they are never ministers.
Is it religious affiliated? I hear a lot of Muslim names in there.
Now, the party, I'm a Catholic, and I sit on cabinet. The cabinet has 15 people, and of the 15, we have only about 3 or 4 Muslims. So it's a mass party. It welcomes all religions, all tribes, and all age groups. So it's not religious affiliated in any way. Justice in the party, all members share equal rights within the party. If it is the president, everyone has access. There's nothing like a middleman. Like here in some parties, you have to pay someone to meet someone, and then you meet the president. In JEEMA, even if you just joined 2 days ago, and you hold the card, the JEEMA card, You are free to talk to anyone the way you want, you are free to express your opinions.
In Uganda, any other party besides NRM is NRM branch. Is it so with JEEMA?
That's a propagandistic ideology that is meant to weaken the opposition. I will see it facing in the camera. JEEMA has been here since 1996, and JEEMA has never been compromised. We can work with any party, issues concerning issues of national importance. And there's never been a that there's a political party in Uganda that doesn't work with government. Political parties that don't work with government are in bush fighting. But the moment you agree to work in the space, you work with government in areas in parliament, areas of government. We sit with all political parties and IPOD. We sit with parties. We sit with parties and the consultative forum. We sit with parties in parliament. Like, we work with government whether you want it or not. Now, any person who comes up and says, for us, don't work with government, and is a politician in Uganda, then he's foolishly taking us to be idiots, or himself is one. That's the statement I can make.
As JEEMA, I understand your vision is to be the #1 leading justice and welfare party in Africa. Do you have a particular period of time you look at achieving that, or?
Now, in politics, there's no time frame. You only work towards achieving your goal, but you can't be sure of the time frame. Because I'll give you an example. General Museveni, the president, started fighting in when he was, I think, 1950s or immediately after colonialism. He started fighting in order to achieve what he wanted in 1996, after almost 40 years. 1986, sorry. So, in politics, you may set an agenda, and it's consistent so that you achieve it. If you set a time frame and you fail to achieve within the time frame, you may lose it. You may think, maybe I'm failing. But in politics, it's about consistency. You set your goal, become consistent with your goal, even if it's 100 years. Actually, it's not a must that it's us to achieve it. We may die, and our sons also died before achieving it, but even if our great grandsons achieve the idea that we had, for us we shall have achieved. And that's what politics is about.
Refusing to be part of the current party, we understand, is funding to most of the political parties in Uganda. How are you sustaining yourselves?
No, the NRM doesn't donate to other parties. The NRM is not the state. And the NRM doesn't own money in Uganda. All the money in Uganda we see in budgets is owned by us Ugandans from our taxes. It's from the national coffers. If the NRM loses power today and JEEMA takes over tomorrow, JEEMA will be controlling the resources. Actually, in politics, what we fight for is control over resources and distribution. That's what we always fight for. Because when you have state power, you control the resources, and then you control how they are distributed. So NIM doesn't give money to anyone.
Are you sure about that?
NIM doesn't give money to anyone.
There are parties who have refused to collaborate with NRM, and they are no more, or they are limping because they cannot fund themselves. They can't sustain themselves. How is JEEMA? Now,
Political parties, now in Uganda, in the whole of Africa, we have issues. We adopted the multi-party politics, but we are not ready. Parties are supposed to be funded by their members through fundraisings, through donations, through annual subscriptions. That's how parties are supposed to be funded. Now in Uganda, it has failed, and resulted to the Electoral Commission funds all parties that are in parliament. They fund them on their numerical strengths. Yes, there were contemplations on that they should get equal funding, but nonetheless, they fund all the parties in parliament. Now, it's not the NRM government funding. It is the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission doesn't belong to the NRM government, it belongs to the state. Even if the NRM leaves today and Museveni's government falls, the EC will stay. It's a state apparatus, and the state is owned by us. Starts with us, the citizens, and then it goes on graduating up the head of state. So even if Museveni leaves, the title will stay, and someone else will occupy it.
So what are you currently doing to sustain your party in power?
Now, we get some small funding from the Electoral Commission, just like any other parliamentary party, and also we have donations. from people well-wishers and people understanding our ideology from the party members. We have annual subscriptions as a party. We also have some things. We have T-shirts. The party card is on for 2,000, so that money cannot strip to something. And that's how we survive as a party.
According to what you're saying, you've been in existence for over 10 years now.
Officially from 2005 registered, so for 20 years now.
20 years now.
Yes.
But 20 years right now, someone deep in Dokolo, someone deep in Lira, in Gulu, someone deep in Sironko has never heard of the name JEEMA as a party. What are your plans to get rich into those states, those communities where you're not known? You're only known in the central Uganda, to be specific.
First of all, I don't agree with that. I come from southwestern part of Uganda. I don't come from central. And I never joined JEEMA from central. I joined JEEMA from Bara University of Science and Technology as a student.
Perhaps you started from here.
No, I started from Bara University of Science and Technology, and it's when I joined JEEMA. Now, in Uganda, we have information gap. One of the biggest problems we have in Uganda is ignorance. And people are ignorant, but they don't know that they are ignorant. They are proudly ignorant. Now, people don't want to know beyond their circles. That's one of the biggest problems we are facing, and it's a very big challenge. But nonetheless, as a party, we have a mobilization strategy. Now, JEEMA doesn't operate in camera. JEEMA is a party that operates with its people not showing off in the camera. You will never see us in the news that we meet the people of Dokoro, we meet the people of Pakwach, we meet the people of Nakapiripiriti.
Wait, so how do you inform the public?
We meet people and we talk to them.
But you're not going down there. You don't.
We have. Actually, we're having a drive. We're having a national tour. But that we don't involve the news. You see, the problem with us, we only tend to take focus on people who are in the news, and the news will always lie.
If you're not carrying news people, journalists with you, how are you spreading news?
Now let me tell you. You see, JEEMA, the way JEEMA recruits its people, we have people who are not supporters, we have members. You know, there's a difference between a supporter and a member. Supporters will make news for you. If someone else comes, they will go. They will make news for the other one. But a member, before you recruit into the party, we first teach you about our values. We teach you about our ideology. So you become a member by consent, not by influence. That's how you get members. So we have organic members, that's the Justice Fund.
Like you.
And others.
Okay.
We have organic members. So our plan is, now, by the way, in Dokoro, talking about, we have been, I think, about a month ago in Dokoro. We have coordinators in Dokoro.
Are you doing that because of the 2026 elections?
Not that. We don't have presidential candidate.
Were you doing this before?
We have been doing this. We have traveled almost throughout this country. And we are traveling under the JEEMA flag.
You don't have a representative in my village. How come?
We might not be having. No, does any other political party has in your village apart from
Yes, they do.
Who?
They do.
You see, the problem with most of these people in Uganda is they just want to see news. So we are doing our work in the underground. We are doing our work behind curtains. The time we come into news, we shall be unstoppable.
Underground for 20 years?
Yes.
Underground for 20
That's why
years?
I said a struggle can even take a lifetime. You die, the other generation takes over. They may even die, the other one also takes over. But it's about the dream continuing to move in generations. Because we're not the first generation. Some joined in 1996, along the way they left. Others joined, now we have also joined. We are recruiting others, but we are taking on the idea and the dream. So it's not about the time, but it's about achieving the dream. So it doesn't matter whether it takes 100 years, as long as the dream gets to be achieved. For us, we shall have been successful, even if we are dead then.
I want to ask you a very off question. What kind of Uganda do you look at being in? Or are you satisfied being in this kind of Uganda you're in right now?
First of all, I don't understand the Uganda we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
It changes on a daily basis. That's the Uganda we are in. It changes on a daily basis. The Uganda I wish to be in a Uganda where justice, I don't mean the justice in court, I mean justice, where that if you are able to take your kid to school, I'm also able to take my kid to a school where that anyone can survive a day, anyone can spend a day without eating. That's what you call social justice. We may have social classes, but irrespective of the social class, any Ugandan can afford the basics.
You mean they can't afford now?
In Uganda, we have people who don't know what to eat next. And those are so many.
What is the basic to you?
Basics are the basic. You did primary, you know, basic needs. You have a shelter, you have a clothing, and you can eat.
Are there people who are walking naked in Uganda?
Very many of them.
Naked
They are basics.
in Uganda.
No, a clothing, you see. Now, I will give, there's a concept of living and existing. No, most people in sub-Saharan Africa actually existing, but they don't live. Now, there is what you call being dressed, but when you're just for the sake of dressing.
Yeah.
We mean a decent dressing. We mean a decent, having a decent house you can stay in, having a decent meal.
Yeah.
That's what we are talking about. If anyone can afford those basics, then that's just society. You can have the rich. Actually, in life, there is a threshold beyond which what we are doing is, what we are doing doesn't seem, looks like, I'll give an example. When I go to Siena Hotel, I will have a glass of juice at maybe at 30,000. I can have the same juice in Makerere at 1,000. So it means beyond that, like we are all having those basics. I can get a glass of juice at 1,000. You can get it at Siena at 10,000, at 20,000.
Because that's what you can afford.
That's what, no, but because I can afford the basic, what changes is now the standard. But the basics can be achieved. So what we are looking for is achieving the basics.
What went wrong?
Now, Uganda, from the 1996, I think up to 1986, up to about 1996, Uganda was the project. That's why the biggest movements were back then. They up now they are there. But after 1996 and then 2001, the president became the project. Uganda is no longer the project. So whatever they are working on, they work with the mentality of how do we get into the next station and win it. So it's not how do we put Uganda to a better position. No, it's about how do we win the next election. After election, like you're going to vote in January or February next year, immediately after, they will start planning on how to win the next election. They will start planning on how to buy people out from the opposition. They will start planning on how to give people cheap money from ghettos to support them. And that's the problem we are facing as a country. We have a country that don't have people planning for Project Uganda. There's no one who sits and they don't sit in those meetings and say, what Uganda do you want next? No one sits there. And actually, you wonder what those people do in cabinet and parliament. They're also discussing nonsense. No one is discussing about the future of Uganda.
So what should we do to get into the better Uganda you want to see?
Now, we need an overhaul of the system. The whole system needs to be changed. And also the mindset. We've been put into a position of begging. In making, we think we should be given everything, even the basics. And that's the Uganda we are in right now. Even the basics. That's why we see people fighting for a t-shirt of 7,000 at a party. People fighting for food. You saw that in Koro. People are fighting for food. So people have been made beggars in their own country. They have the capacity to provide for themselves, but they have been made to beg. Because that's, the poor and the ignorant and the people who are very good to read. They are very easy to read. The poor, you give them 1,000 and they'll give you a vote. The ignorant, you lie to them and they'll give you the vote.
Innocent, when you say we need change in the system and all that, Uganda currently, as we talk, is a democratic country.
No, please. No.
Why?
I beg that you take back that statement. Democracy, yes, we understand democracy has the basics. Has the basics of division of powers and then independence of each entity, respect for human rights, seasonal elections like those we have after every 5 years. Those are the basics of democracy. And in Uganda, don't have a democracy. Actually, democracy yes, it's a philosophy, but somehow delusional and can never be achieved. There's no country with a democracy in this world. Some have tried, but no country has a democracy in this world. Because
Well, how would you
absolute
describe
democracy never
Uganda?
works.
How would you describe Uganda?
Now, Uganda, there's a term my friend Mukasa Mbide calls it a democradula. Democradula is in making there is a separation of powers of the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. But in reality, they are not independent. One person is overriding over them. I have that in Uganda. You've seen President Museveni taking votes that you people, you can't stop me from doing what I want. That we are working even when in 1986. So there's no separation of powers in Uganda. And that's what he calls the democradia. And for him, he goes ahead to call it neo-patrimonial democradia. For the neo-patrimonial democradia, he means there is a person who is above all those entities, and that's the president. And then there are some other people who don't have positions in entities, but they influence what happens. I'll give an example. There are some people, do you know genocide? Genocide has no position in the government. But you've seen the whole vice president, second in command in Uganda, trekking to go and visit him. There's no decision here that has been made as concerning investment from abroad without consulting him. So he's an individual with no position, but he has authority to change everyone. He can even appoint a minister.
Do you think dictatorship would be the best way to go for Uganda?
Now, dictatorship has always been. It's not only dictatorship. Democracy has failed to achieve what they promised people. You see, democracy is a Western idea. After Corona, now this imperialists, now this goes to geopolitics. At first, there was self-trade. And it was forced labor. Then from self-trade, they came in the name of stopping it, after them gaining from it. Then they brought what you call religion. And they showed us that, you see, with this God of ours, you can change everything. And your God is wrong and your culture is wrong. So they brought religion along with their culture. And this religion broke in our hearts, softened our hearts, that paved the way for colonialists. Now when we fought against colonialism, they left what you call neocolonialism. Now the neocolonialist agenda we are having, when they left in the neocolonialism, one of the tools they are using is religion and something called democracy and these NGOs. And there's something they call UN. That's how they control us, the poor, mostly Africa. Because Asia has moved away from that. Asia has giants and you can't control Asia right now. So in Africa, they are using NGOs, religion, democracy, and UN. That's why Africa will be the center for all reports. In the reporting about malaria, they always report about Africa.
Innocent, wait. There's something I'm failing to understand. When the people have the powers to choose which leader they want, and they're given the capacity to go vote, cast their ballot for the leader that they want, what would you call that?
The question is, do they have the mental capacity to choose the person they want?
They have already chosen by
do
voting.
They have the mental capacity to choose the right person? That is the bigger question.
Haven't they chosen already by voting, by casting their vote? Now, because those votes are counted right there when they're
choosing. And fair choice is also a choice. You see, in a democracy, the problem with democracy can be manipulated. That's the biggest change with democracy. Democracy is through manipulation. And that's why we have demagogues in parliament, where people fit to be chairpersons citizens in parliament, because they were able to manipulate the people. Now, the problem with democracy, I was saying how democracy came, how it would control us. Democracy came as a new, because under colonialism there was no democracy, because an African couldn't own a business. An African couldn't go to the legislative assembly and talk. So when they saw that we are shouting, they brought what you call democracy. Now democracy is a tool they use to fight us. It's a tool they use to control us. See, under democracy, if you develop your country, but then you don't work on their agenda, they have their own agenda, those imperialists, they will say you're not democratic. And they will use that against you. And they use the UN. They use the UN and their agencies. They use the ICJ, National Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, ICC, suppress you to both their democracy, because democracy doesn't guarantee development. Democracy is never to development. And democracy, there's no record of democracy causing development. There are some other forms of leadership that cause development, and dictatorship is one of them. There's a dictatorship, you can be like the communists in China, the way they made it. You see the way Libya was before they introduced the democracy in 2000, they called democracy. And they now know what Libya is. Libya is no longer a nation. It is about 4 presidents. So democracy is a tool that the imperialists are using to keep us bind. Because it is through, in a democracy is a game of numbers. So even if the fools are men and they decide, you have to go with that. That's the biggest problem we have. That's why we have very foolish leaders, most of them, because it's fools that are choosing them. So in Uganda, the democracy we're talking about, democracy can never solve African problems. African problems must be solved by African solutions, and we must, if we are to adopt democracy, we must Africanize it. You can't adopt democracy of accepting human rights, including homosexuality.